Universe, it's a pretty wild game. I don't know how much of the history lesson Guile gave you over there, but the system itself, the gameplay of Universus, has been around like 16 years. It's a super duper crazy old game, and the original pitch for the game was all about fighting games. So when you play the game, you're gonna notice a lot of the mechanics and a lot of the things are centered around fighting games and what you would expect from those. Whether you are or aren't a big fan of those, not a problem. The game is super fun and interactive regardless, but that's where a lot of the theming comes from. Nowadays, we have a lot more than fighting games. You know, we've got animes, Hero Academia, Attack on Titan. We've got, you know, Godzilla, sci-fi. Trigun. Later on this year, we have Star Trek, Starter Decks coming out. Just everything under the sun. You know, the game is very like Smash Brothers-esque, where worlds collide. You've got all this stuff coming together. You know, very like multiverses type. And so, you know, that's the theme, that's the flavor, that's the little like 1-minute sales pitch. As far as what you can actually expect once you start handling the cards, Magic isn't the most out-of-the-world comparison. Like, we are going to build a deck, draw cards, and play cards and try to beat each other up with them. But that's kind of where the similarities end. Most card games, you know, you're going to have units, you're going to have creatures, monsters, stuff like that. Universus is very different. Our deck is going to be comprised of attack cards and foundation cards. Foundation cards are essentially like lands in Magic. They're your resources, but they also have abilities sometimes, so they can kind of help you out in the middle of your fights. And then instead of having like monsters that we're going to summon to fight for us, in Universus, it's all about the character card. So the character card is you. It's the representation of you as a fighter inside this world. Your character card is separate from your deck and always starts over here. You always have access to them and their abilities. And so instead of summoning monsters to fight for us, inside our deck we're going to find these orange attack cards, and these are going to be essentially representative of us fighting with our fighter. So instead of playing, you know, Monster X or whatever that attacks your opponent, we're going to play Fatal Stab, and that's me as Mikasa attacking you. This is the attack I'm performing. Right? So that's where the big difference comes in. Now, when we get to the actual gameplay, your character is also going to determine how you play the game. So you'll notice on the character here, there's a lot going on, but the big things you want to notice are these abilities here, which you'll have during battle, but these icons are where we're going to start out. The one with the little like set of cards there, the 3 cards with the 6, that's your hand size. You're going to draw up to that number of cards each turn. You draw a lot of cards in this game. You play a lot of cards. It's very, very active. And then the little heart here there is your health. When that hits 0, you lose. You're dead. You're out. You're KO'd. Sorry, you're not dead. You're KO'd in the fighting ring, right? These characters are super simple. A lot of the characters in like the spread of the game, you're going to see lots of abilities on them, and you're going to see much higher health totals. These guys just have 15 because this is the short, sweet, quick demo experience. Gotcha. So that's really all you need to know before we actually get into it. So to start, we're going to find our hand size here of 6, and we're going to draw that many cards. So you're going to find yourself 6 fresh cards. Now, when you're playing in Universus, one of the big things to note about beginning the game is I cannot attack you on the first turn. We can't play our cool orange cards and beat people up yet. We have to play our gray cards, our foundations. Without the right set of foundations are what enable you to play your attacks. They're what help you pay for your attacks so you can beat the rival up. So you're going to need some of your foundations first. So there's a couple things to note here when you're going first. I am going to take the first turn just to explain to you how playing cards works. The only thing that's really different about the first turn is your character is going to start committed. And essentially this just means that you cannot pay for costs with them, and they don't have their abilities when they're committed. But yours is actually going to start ready because I'm the first turn of the game, I have to go committed. You're just the second turn of the game, even though it's your first turn as a whole.
So technically you'd be engaged. Okay, I got you.
And so we've got our pretty cool hand here of foundation cards. And now we're going to play cards into our card pool. So the card pool here is where you're playing your cards during your turn. It goes left to right, and you're going to play cards in a sequence, essentially. So I'm going to try and build some foundations. So to take and play a card from your hand, you place it into your card pool in the furthermost left slot. And now, in order to try and pay for this card, you have to make a check. So to pay for cards in our game, we make checks. So what we're doing here is analyzing this top left number here, which is a 3. Now I'm going to discard the top card of my deck. And I'm going to analyze this bottom right number, which is blue. And essentially, I just want to make sure these two match each other, or at least or equal. So my cost is a 3, my difficulty is a 3, and I checked a 5, so I'm good. My card has been played, and I can now continue with my turn.
Okay.
So now I can start playing more cards. So I'm now going to take this one, fight, damn it, and play it. Now this one's a 2, but you're going to notice we've got these little plus numbers up here. This is our progressive difficulty mechanic. So the idea here is, just like in a fighting game, you got stamina. The more you do, the more you wear yourself out, and the harder it is to do things.
Okay.
And this is like the limiting factor to playing cards in this game. So because this is my second card in my card pool, instead of being on a 2, it's going to get +1 for the preceding cards. I have 1 card before this, so it's 2 + 1. So this is also going to be on a 3. So I'll make a check again. I got exactly a 3, so I'm golden. My card has been played, and I can now continue playing cards. So let's do another one. This is a 1 difficulty card, but I've got 2 cards preceding me, so it's going to be a 1, 2, 3. We'll make a check once more. I got a 3, so I'm golden.
Okay.
I'm going to try playing another card. This is a 0, but I've got 3 cards preceding, so it'll be a 0, 1, 2, 3. I'll make my check again, and I got a 5, so I'm perfect. And I've got 1 more foundation to try and play. This is going to be a 1 difficulty, but with 4 preceding cards. 1 + 4 is going to make me look for a 5 here. I got a 3, oopsies, it's not going to happen. So the second you don't get those numbers to line up, you fail your check. The second you fail a check, the card you tried to play gets yeeted out of here, and your turn instantly ends. It's snap over. So now that the turn is over, I get to take all of these cool foundations and build them down into my stage. I now own them, and I can use them to pay for my cards. We'll get more into how that math works later.
Okay.
With that, I get to keep my 1 card in hand and end my turn. And now it's your turn. And you're going to essentially do the exact same thing that I did.
I gotcha.
Now, if you'll notice, I played my cards in kind of a specific order here. Naturally, since your cards are going to get harder to play as you go through your turn, you want to start with the bigger ones and work down. But there's a little bit of cute math to know in that you'll see your foundations will check 5s and your attacks will check 3s, and that's as low as it gets.
Okay.
So as long as you're playing on a maximum of a 3 difficulty, you cannot fail.
Okay.
So you're going to do essentially the exact same thing that I just did, starting with your bigger ones and working your way down.
Okay, so it would be...
Yep, and it'll be in the first slot in your card pool. Just like I did, you're on a 3. We'll check for a 3. And we got a 5, so your card's golden and played. Continue testing.
Honestly, I'll follow suit.
Yep, exactly. Yep, on a 2 + 1. So once again, on a 3, check a 3, you're golden. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. The more foundations you can get on your field, the better. So right now, even if you have like another 2 or a 3,
it's still...
You don't necessarily want to go bigger first here because you want to keep it on a total of 3 because that's the worst we can possibly check. Okay. So if you have a 1, that's where we want to go right here. So we go on a 1, 2, 3. 3 is the worst we can check, so it can't fail. And look, we checked a 3, right? So boom, there it is, boys. Now if you have a 0, you want to jam that one here because you'll continue to safely be on a 0, 1, 2, 3.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. Risk assessment, basically.
So then the 3,
yep, and
which
you
I got
check,
a 3.
And you did check a 3, so that's pretty good.
And then if I did...
Now, this one's going to be risky because it's on a 1 + 4 other cards on a 5. If we check a 3, it'll fail, but we've played it safe as long as we can. Now we have to try and take that risk and play it on a 5. And we check the 5, and there it is, boys. And there it is. So now, it's the end of your turn. Just like me, you'll bring all of your foundations down here. Oop, and that one too. Oop. And now, you own those. They are yours to use as you please. So now your turn's over, and it's going to be my turn. Now, when you begin your turn, any cards that you have committed are going to ready themselves back up. So it's like a refresh of your resources at the beginning of your turn. I keep my 1 card in hand, and then I'm going to draw up to 6 again. So I'll draw 5 new cards here.
This is great. I'm liking the mechanics too.
It's pretty fun. So now that I've got some foundations, I can start playing my attack cards. So you're going to notice your orange attack cards are substantially harder to play. That's why you need foundations first. So I'm going to take this Slay the Wolves here, and I'm going to play it on a difficulty of 5. So I'm going to make a check for a 5. I checked a 5, so we're all good. We're all good. So now that we've successfully played an attack, this is where it gets real anime. And now that you successfully played an attack, this is where you enter the enhance step.
Okay.
So you might notice some of the cards are going to say enhance before their ability is stated. All that means is the enhance step is where you play these enhances. We're now in the window to play those. And basically the way this works is I'm gonna play my enhance, and then if you have an enhance, you're gonna play it. And we're gonna go back and forth playing abilities.
Okay.
I'm trying to buff my attack, you're trying to debuff it. You know, it's kind of like Dragon Ball, right? You're staring at each other just powering up for like 10 years before finally just shipping it.
Okay.
And basically, that's what we're gonna do. Now, you're gonna see a lot of these don't really have any abilities. In the greater game, you're gonna see a lot of foundations with a lot of enhanced abilities all over them, and it's just, I enhance, you enhance, I enhance, you enhance, back and forth craziness.
Yeah.
In the quick demo here, it's not quite as intense. So, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna use the enhance on my Mikasa. So she says I can enhance commit her, which is just turning her sideways like this, to give my attack +4 speed. Now, when we analyze an attack here, there's some important numbers to note. The big thing that you'll notice that attacks have in comparison to your foundations, they've got these two numbers right here. These numbers are your speed and damage, and these just essentially indicate the speed is going to be how hard it is to block, how fast the attack is. The damage is going to be how much it hits you for if it does hit you. So I've committed Mikasa to give my attack +4 speed. It's now a 5 + 4, 9 speed attack. That's pretty freaking fast.
Yeah.
Now we're done enhancing, so it's time to go to the block step. When your opponent's attacking you, you don't just have to take it. You have all the cards in your hand with these little shields that you can use to try and block your rival's attacks. So you see all these little blocks up here?
Yeah.
These mean that you can protect yourself. However, my attack is very, very fast, so you can't protect yourself from this one.
Gotcha.
So this one, you're not gonna be able to block, and it's gonna just straight up hit you for its 5 damage. So you're gonna go from your 15 health here down to 10 health. And
now do y'all's other ones as well? So like the Godzilla mats and stuff, can these have these as well on there?
So
or
I don't think any of our other mats have zones. These are the only ones that have like the learn to play zones on them. But we are selling these here at the booth. I think they're $10 each.
Okay.
Yeah. At conventions specifically, they're $10 each. So they're super cheap onboarding thing, right?
No, I got you.
So this attack slammed the heck out of you, and it's over now. It's chilling here. And now I'm gonna play another attack. So I'm gonna have it play another Slay the Wolves. This is a 5, but +1, so on a 5/6. So I'll make a check here. Now I checked a 3. These do not meet up, but that's where our foundations come into play. Whenever your difficulty and your check don't quite line up with each other, you're gonna be able to use your foundations to pay for the difference.
Okay.
So it's really simple math. I'm on a 6 and I checked a 3. So I'm missing 3 points there. For each of those points, I can commit one foundation. So I can go 4, 5, 6. Now I've paid for it and my attack has passed.
Okay.
Makes sense? Now, because Mikasa needs me to commit her to use the +4 speed, I've already committed her as a cost, so I can't commit her again. So I don't have that ability live to me anymore, so there's no enhances to do here. Instead, we're gonna go straight to the block step. So, to block, you're gonna take the card in your hand and place it into your card pool. And essentially, it's going to operate just like when you're playing cards. You're gonna be basically finding difficulty and making a check. But your difficulty is not gonna be a 3, as if you were playing it during your own turn. To find the difficulty of a block, you're gonna take the speed of an attack and combine it with the number on your shield. So in this case, 5 + 0 is just still 5, and that's the number you're making a check against.
5.
And you checked a 5. You're golden, and this attack has been blocked. It didn't do anything for me, and I'm big sad about it. And so you see now why the +4 speed on this one would have made it hard to block. You'd have been blocking on a 9 + 0 on a 9. Now, you checked a 5, so you would have been able to commit 6, 7, 8, 9 to pass your block check. But if you'd have checked a 3 there, you would not have enough resources. So blocking this one would have been real risky.
Okay.
So this attack failed, sucks to be me, and now I'll try to play some more of these foundations in my hand. So I'll try to play this guy on a 2 with 2 preceding cards, so a 2, 3, 4, and I'll make a check. Got it. And then I'm gonna play this one on a 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna make a check and I got it. That's all I wanna risk now. So these foundations that I successfully played will come down here, and my attack will go here, but this attack that dealt damage to you, I actually get to do something different with it. I get to take it and place it face down under my character as a momentum. This is basically your ultimate meter. You know, your gauge, your super,
You're building up for a bigger
You're building
attack.
up, and so you're gonna see cards in the whole game that are gonna say discard a momentum for plus 10 damage. Discard a momentum for plus 5 speed, and just crazy daisy abilities that are gated behind the cost of a momentum. So they're supposed to be like your big moves, right? That take a while to build up. With that being said, I've built my foundations, I've collected my momentum, my turn is over, and your turn starts. So, just like my turn, you would ready any cards that you have committed, but you don't have any, and you're gonna clear this card out of your card pool.
Okay.
And because you have no cards in hand, you're gonna draw a fresh 6. Yep. Gotcha. A big 6 cards. And now it's time to throw some of your very own attacks at me.
Gotcha.
So, take your big move and slam it down into the card pool.
And then attack.
Yep. So just like me, you're going to be playing it on a difficulty of 5, and we're going to make a check against a 5. You got a 5, so you're golden. Now we're going to once again enter the enhanced step. So here, this is where you could use Aaron to commit him. Instead of speed, though, Aaron's going to give 4 damage. So this is now a 9 damage move. And now, with that enhance out the way, we're going to move to the blocks. I am not going to block this attack. So it's just going to hit me for 9 damage and send me down to 6 health. So your attack has hit me, and now we can move on. You can try and play another attack if you'd like. Yep, so same thing. This will be on a 5+1, 6 total, and you'll make a check against that. You check the 3. So
but
just
then
like
me,
you'll have to commit 3 of your resources in total to make up for that.
Now, do your resources, I'm sure you'll explain here in a minute, but do they like untap basically?
They're going to ready up at the start of the turn.
Okay.
Just like how when my last turn began, I got to ready up Mikasa, the same thing is going to happen for all of your foundations.
Okay, so now that I've done that.
Yep. You have passed it. We're now in this attack. You can't use Aaron again, so there's no enhances to play, and we'll go right to blocks. I'm going to block this one, so it's a 5 speed move plus my 0, and I've got to make a check against a 5. I checked just a 5, so I am golden, and I'm safe from this move, which would have put me to 1 measly health.
And
this
then
attack is blocked, and now you can proceed with your turn. So you can build some more foundations from your hand, just like I did. If you have another attack, you could try to play it, but it would be mad risky. So this will be on a 2, 3, 4, and you'll make a check.
Hey.
Beautiful, beautiful. You could try and play one more. You want to keep at least a card in hand or 2 so that you can block your opponent's attacks.
Gotcha.
But playing a couple more foundations is still good.
So on this be 0, so this will be 4?
1, 2, 3.
Oh, 3.
Yep. That is the beauty of zeros. They're very, exactly. Just exactly got it.
Cool. And then that would end my turn.
If you're comfy there, you can bring those down. That one's going to go away. That one hit me, so you can make it into momentum. And then over on my end, my card will clear, and then my character, alongside all of my foundations, are going to ready up.
And I can definitely see with like additional abilities and like...
Yeah, the enhancing goes crazy. The enhancing goes wild. So I have my 1 card in hand, so I'm going to draw 5 fresh ones.
So what deck are you currently using?
So I'm currently playing a deck of Hood from My Hero Academia.
Okay.
Yeah, the high-end Nomu. And he's basically all about just throwing gigantic, massive difficulty cards.
Yeah.
And then he gains damage based on the difficulty of the cards. So like, as you see here that like most of the attacks are 5s.
Yeah.
5 is usually as big as it gets. And you'll see the very occasional 6. My Hood deck plays all 6s. But there's a lot of cards inside the deck that interact with them.
Yeah.
One of the attacks says the next 6 difficulty that you try to play has -2 difficulty, so it makes it a 4.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're gonna find like engines like that you can put in your deck to facilitate specific playstyles like that and make them a lot easier to perform.
Okay.
Speaking of 6 difficulty moves, I've got one here. So I'm gonna play Determined Strike on a 6.
Okay.
I'll make a check. I got a 5, so I'm gonna have to commit 1 single resource here.
Not
for
bad.
6. Now, we're going to enter the enhanced step. I'll use Mikasa, and I'll commit her to give this thing 4 speed. And now that the enhancement is over, it's going to come at you as a 10 speed move. This is mathematically impossible for you to block.
Yeah.
So it's going to hit you for 6 damage and put you down to 4 health.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately for me, I got no more attacks to try and kill you with. So I'm gonna have to try and put my defenses up and play some foundations. I'll play The World That the Girl Saw on a 3+1, so on a 4.
Okay.
And I check. And then I'll play this on a 2, 3, 4. It'll check a 3. I'll have to commit 1 resource for 4. I'll play this on a 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ooh.
I've checked a 3. Oh, it's getting dicey. 4, 5. And then I'll try and play this guy on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm trying to get crazy. And I got a 5.
Okay.
And that's it. I'm going to build these foundations down into my stage. Wow, I've got like a million of them now. And then I'm going to put this attack in here because it hit you. Now, I've got 1 card left in my hand. It's time for you to try and end this. So, my turn's over. You'll ready up all of the cards in your stage.
So basically, I untapped all these.
Yep.
And
You're going to bring all your foundations back up.
you can hear the MTG
You're gonna bring your
coming out. I'm like,
yeah,
untap.
no, it's
I'm untapping
okay. Yeah,
real quick.
no, it's okay. You know, everyone's got their verbiage, right?
And then I do
You're going to ready your
up to
character back up.
Oh.
Now, there's one interesting thing as well, is that in this game, we have something called the review step. So when you go to draw your fresh hand of cards at the start of your turn, you have the option of discarding up to 1 card from your hand before you draw. So if you've got some foundations in your hand right now, you can discard 1 of them and then draw up. That way
and then
you're
draw
getting
the 5
that way you're
instead of
getting
the-
to see 1 more card, because right now you're trying to draw some attacks to finish me
And
off.
is that per turn too?
Yep, that's each turn. Yep.
Okay. So
And
I will
yep.
draw 5.
Now you'll draw
then.
5 fresh ones.
I like it. I like it.
It's not looking good for me, boys. It's not looking good. It sounds like there's some orange in that hand. All right, we're gonna drop a no hesitation on a 6 difficulty.
And then the +4.
Yep. So before that though, we've got to successfully pass our card.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
we're on a 6, and we'll make a check for a 6. We got a 5, so we've only got to commit 1 resource here. Beautiful. Now it's time to enhance. This is where we can bring Aaron back into the fray here and use him to commit for a big +4 damage. All right. And with that, it's now time to go to blocks. So I have held on to this 1 last card in my hand for this choice block. So we've got a 6-speed move +0, so I'm blocking on a 6. I make my check and I got a 5. I'll commit 1 resource to make up for 6. However, we're going to explain something here. What you might have noticed alongside the speed is that we've got these little arrows here going up, in the middle, or down below.
Okay.
This is an attack's zone. So just like a fighting game, we've got high, mid, and low, right? And you'll notice that when you look at the shields on your cards,
+1.
they have some corresponding ones, see? This one is red and up top to mark that it's also a high, whereas you'll notice my shield here is in the middle tab and it's orange, so it's a mid. So just like a fighting game, you want to sync up the right attack with the right block here. So I would want to block a high with a high. Now in this instance, I've blocked a high with a mid. I am legally allowed to perform that block even though they don't line up. But since they don't line up, I have to take half of the damage.
Okay.
So your 10 damage move here, even though I blocked with the wrong zone.
But for half.
So I'm gonna take half, 5, and go to 1 health. Now I've got no cards in my hand.
Gotcha.
So if you have another attack here, you can seal the deal.
Don't. So it'd have to be. So that would be for.
Yep,
one?
so this will be a 1-2.
1-2. Okay. Which I got.
And you checked it. Yep. This will be on a 2-3-4.
Gotcha.
We'll make a check again.
Which I got. And then that'll end my.
Yep,
So-
and that'll end your turn. So your foundations are going to build down into your stage. And then you can put your attack into your momentum.
It's not too hard at all to pick
Nope.
up on this.
It's so yeah, and essentially that's it, right? These are kind of the bare bone process of Universus.
Yeah.
Now you know how to play attacks, you know how to build foundations, you know how to perform blocks, you know how to collect momentum, and that's essentially all it takes to really get into the game.
Which is nice too, because you know how it goes with some other ones?
Yeah,
and
some of them.
just
Yeah, some
get
of them
really over-exaggerated.
No, they can be crazy complicated. And of course, the full-on game is a little more in-depth. But for all intents and purposes, that kind of concludes the demo here. You get a good taste of what you're doing. The real meat and potatoes of this game is that back and forth, right?
Okay.
You're attacking me, I'm blocking, you're enhancing, you're powering up, I'm trying to stave off your offense, I'm trying to come back in and swing back at you, for this big climactic victory.
Yeah.
It's really, really exciting. It mirrors so many things from other games, both fighting games, both card games, just bringing a lot of that uniqueness together and just really standing on top, when a game system lasts 16 years, there's clearly something unique there, right? There's something beautiful about why it's lasted this long and about why players have hung on to those unique aspects.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we're trying to take the game is, finding those unique things, moving forward, bringing some of the simplicity in, and making something that a lot more people can enjoy and just be a really unique commodity in, what is really just a very, very hyper variety card game space nowadays. I mean, I've been playing card games for about a decade now, and the amount of card games that we have on the market these days, it's unparalleled.
And then all of them within there, and it's turning into pay to play kind of aspect.
Yeah, it gets real intense. So now that you kind of know a little bit about, let's go kind of look at some of the Godzilla cards, and you can kind of understand a bit more about what's going on with those. Yeah, so something that's really fun about Godzilla is they wanted to make the cards feel very, very thematic to what's going on. Obviously the demo decks that we played with, very simple. Mikasa gives 4 speed, Aaron gives 4 damage. It's not super duper intense, right? But when you visit the greater scope of Universus, you're gonna see that there's a very, very big effort in this game to translate the flavor of the characters into what they do. So if you take a look at Godzilla and Mothra here, Godzilla says your attacks of printed difficulty 5 or greater get +3 damage. Yeah, so as long as you're playing big moves, they're gonna get big damage because you're a big monster, right? And then Mothra is very similar. Mothra says that you can commit it to give +X or -X damage, speed, X being the printed difficulty of the attack.
Okay.
So once again, Mothra and Godzilla, they want to play these big, big moves. And then Godzilla has something seriously awesome going on here, where he's got a once per game ability to commit him and discard 4 cards from your hand. Destroy all foundations. Ooh. Only playable if there are 10 or more foundations in both stages combined.
Okay.
So, fitting of what it does in pop culture and in all of its media, Godzilla just clears the board.
Yeah.
Destroys everything in its path. And so, by reading these, you can kind of get a little bit of a grasp of what's going on. Something interesting as well that you're going to see looking at these other characters in the full scope of the game is they don't all just get 6, right? You'll see Mechagodzilla here draws 5 cards a turn, but then Mothra draws 8 cards a turn.
Yeah.
And you'll see their health totals are kind of adjusted there, right? Godzilla's got 34, Mothra gets 21. A lot less health for a lot more cards.
So you can adjust your actual fighter or your character.
Correct.
So you could do not multiples, but you can do different ones.
Yeah, they're all very different, right?
Okay.
Between the hand size and the health numbers being so wildly different across all the fighters, you would consider generally the less cards you get, the more health you have. So these would be considered the bruisers, the heavyweight fighters, right? The 5-handers. But then you go and you see Rodan over here gets 7 cards, way more than 5, but 13 less health.
Yeah.
So these are the glass cannon, the lightweight fighters, much more options available to them, but with that so much less health, you have to be really good about keeping your defenses up or finishing the game before they finish you.
Gotcha,
right?
gotcha.
So there's a lot of variety in how you pick your fighters. It's very, very fighting game-esque. You have these different classes of fighters.
And the artwork too, just, man.
I mean, yeah, it's, without trying to toot our own horns, it's mind-blowing.
That's fine, you can totally.
It's absolutely mind-blowing. One of the really cool things that you'll see too is there's kind of a consistent theme among them, whereas the characters are going to be these beautiful custom art pieces that are done just for Universus. You will not find these pieces of art in anything else. Oh. They're exclusive to our game. And so that's what's really cool about our alternate arts. But then even when you get to the base rarity cards down here, this regular version of Godzilla, it's not quite this, but this is no slouch. It's a gorgeous card.
Yeah.
And then once you start getting into things like, the commons and the rares, you're going to notice, they're not borderless, they're not full art, they're not as crazy, but we've still got these awesome manga panels that our creative team has outlined these awesome patterns. You're going to see, the rares here are going to have these cool explosion patterns in the text box. You're going to see these cool, cracks in the earth patterns in the text box. And then once you hit the ultra rares, you're going to see this really cool, like, full manga page here. You've got these ultra rares with these silver borders here. And if you look really closely, you can see that the art extends past the color.
I love that
into the
too.
You can literally see the bottom half of a man's body here as these are his legs, as his top half is blown away by Godzilla's entrance.
Just fantastic detail. Like,
yeah, the efforts from the creative team as far as these Godzilla panels are concerned, amazing. And then even when you come to some of these other alt arts here, these are just straight up comic book panels. But we took them, we created our own custom backgrounds, we played with colors, and we just put some really, really amazing details on them. You would not look at this and guess that it's just from, some run-of-the-mill comic book, because it looks like it was made to be this beautiful full art card. Yeah, it's a really, really impressive product. We're very, very proud of what we've done between the flavor, the art, the direction, the thematic nature of how the cards translate with the monsters themselves. It's all very, very, very beautiful, and I just can't wait to see people start opening these up on June 21st. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be amazing.
I'm definitely getting both, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get all of these.
Yeah, so the fun thing, right, is that basically from here to here, these are the guaranteed contents of the deck. However, each deck is going to come with a single pack that's going to come with essentially these cards, but parallel foil versions of them, and then one of these beautiful alternate arts. So you're going to kind of play a little hunting game to find these guys. And I mean, if you find one of the characters in there, you've struck gold.
And do y'all just do the actual like fighting decks, or do you do like individual packs?
So for the starter decks, the challenger deck, the pre-constructed products, those are just those. That we don't have a Godzilla booster set. Okay. It's just the pre-constructed deck and then the collector's pack inside of it, which is just alternate art. So all of these are all cards from these. Okay. Just alternate arts, right? So you see like Electric Moth here is going to be the exact same thing as the Electric Moth here.
Okay, gotcha.
These cards do the same thing. This one just looks 10 million times cooler.
Yeah, just an alternate art.
Yeah,
gotcha.
But when it comes to functionality, you're not going to be like locked out of these abilities by hunting for these cards and not finding them, right? It's purely just insane visual appeal.
Yeah.
But that's basically the duality of our product lines right now. We have the Challenger series, which are these super in-depth pre-constructed decks with these collector's booster packs with alt arts galore inside them. And then the main other product we have is just like our main booster series. So you see, My Hero Academia Jetburn, My Hero Academia Girl Power. Those are the booster packs. Those are, you buy a box, it's got a bunch of packs inside. You're hunting for all the goodies. And then we kind of have like a middle ground pre-constructed deck there in these Clash decks here. So these are sort of like our Challenger series in that they are beginner products. They're a pre-constructed deck, playable right out the box, except they're a little smaller, they're a little simpler, and they don't have as many shiny things. They don't have this collector's booster pack, alternate art craziness, Those are like the most entry level of entry level. So it's kind of, this nice little widespread, depending on like how hard you're trying to come into the game. And of course, depending on what world you're trying to experience. If you want My Hero Academia, we've got all these Clash deck options. But regardless of complexity, regardless of how hard you're trying to go in, if you just want Critical Role, the Challenger series for Critical Role are what you're going to be looking at. So it's a huge wide array of products, tons of different stuff to choose from, and in general, just kind of making sure that there's a product for anyone to come in, depending on how hard they want to get into the game, complexity-wise, whether they're, little Timmy who goes play cards once a week at his game store, or, you're a serious, TCG veteran. You've been in the game for a decade now, and and you're trying to come in swinging. There's just a myriad of things, regardless.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you showing me not only the game, you showed me the setup. I'm definitely going to be pre-ordering both of the Godzillas.
Yeah, the Godzilla
and probably
decks
more.
Are heat. So to give you a little context of me, I was a player and content creator for the game for a couple years until I did so much work with them that they hired me. So I still play the game a lot. I'm very personally invested in the game. The Godzilla decks, they're crazy.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
Yeah.
Like these cards are nuts. These cards are so powerful. These cards are game changing. It's a must have. It's just a must have. They're one of the most impressive things gameplay wise that we've put out in. Oh man, they're just the bomb, dude. They're just the bomb.
Amazing.
And they're super fun. They're so much fun. You know, whether you're wiping boards with Godzilla, whether you're drawing 1,000,000 cards with Mothra, whether you're, you know, pulling games from the void of space with Ghidorah, you know, there's just so much fun to be had in these decks. It's really, really, really magical. But for demoing with us, I get to do a couple cool things. So if you'll notice on the back of here, there's a little QR code for you to sign up to the Universus Gaming Network. And this is just kind of like our little like hub website for the game. Okay. Basically you sign up on here, and when you play at events, you'll use your account on here. You can also use the store locator and the event finder on here to find stores near you that hold Universus.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And to find any events near you, whether they're at those stores or at farther stores. You know, you can find whatever you need on here. And also, you're going to see redeem loyalty points for cards. This is one of the coolest things about what we do with this network is when you go and you play in your local events, you accrue loyalty points on your account. And there's a store on the network, on the website, where you can use your points to redeem for free promo cards in the mail.
Yeah.
And another way to get these points is you can play in your locals. Alternatively, you can also take your packs, and you see here, eligible for redemption. You can literally take your packs and mail them into us, like cereal box toppers. And for each pack you mail in, you get a point.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I've never heard of
your
that.
Your empty packs in our game are not trash. You stock those up, you mail those in, and you get a bunch of points, and then you redeem them for free promo cards. It's crazy. It's crazy daisy. It's nuts. It's nuts. So for demoing with me, you guys sign up on here, and then I get to give you 2 free booster packs of Jet Burn and Girl Power to open up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So let me know if y'all have any other questions. As soon as you finish those accounts, I get to give you free packs, and that's pretty much all there is to it.
Well, I really appreciate it. That's amazing. I'm definitely going to be a big fan for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to be buying a lot of Godzilla cards.
Yeah, I got to hunt for those altarts.
Yeah,
those altarts are heat.
I like
They're
that.
so good.
I like doing the best, man. That's fantastic. Well, I really appreciate it, and I didn't have anything, Josh.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing on this side, QR code, so you can, find your, Girl Power is obviously out now, so you can find it at your store by scanning that. And Godzilla, you can scan that and, find yourself some pre-order links. Or just, hit up your local game store and ask them what they got going on. Always want to support your local game stores, CCGs like this, frankly, they couldn't exist if it wasn't for game stores, carrying the game and local player bases helping you get in and all of that jazz.
Oh.
Yeah, the ecosystem is very important.
That's awesome, man.